This is Tucker, and today we got the old Blue Goose set up on the jack stands here so we can begin to get that body welded on there. So we'll just kind of do a quick walk around here and kind of show you what we've got going on. Here's kind of a look at what we've got here so far. This is actually the inner panel that we had welded up on the Roadmaster wheel well area where it was kind of ate out, and we kind of made those cardboard templates and had that wraparound piece that we'd welded on. So we went ahead and put that weld-through primer on it before we set that body on here. And then, as you can see here, this 57 inner wheel well, we've got it to where it's butted up right up against this. So we can just literally, come up here a little higher into some cleaner metal. Once we trim this area out, we'll cut out all this rusty stuff on the 57, because this panel actually comes up here quite a little bit higher. We squared it off and came down. So we'll come in and clean this up, and then literally push this up against it and then do some spot welds, probably about every 3 inches on this curved area here, until we get up into here. All right, well, we kind of got this trimmed out our way here. I had a little bit of a mishap right here. I ended up cutting out a little bit too much, so we'll have to put a little patcher in there. But as you can see, we got this kind of trimmed up close to where all we got to do is come in here and clamp the inner and the outer here together as we go along here and drill, and then get that all spot welded in. So we'll get this side done and then we'll move on to the next. All right, well, we got the driver's side welded and the passenger side welded up over here. But as you can see, we was kind of short on material on this wheel tub where it had been rusty before, and the gap's just a little bit big right in here. So we're going to get around to the underneath the wheel well, and when we start doing that pinch weld area on up in here, we'll get that done, and then we'll come in here and try to massage this in a little bit. But most likely we're going to have to make a slice up into this inner wheel well a little bit to get this to lay in a little closer, and we're going to have to add a small piece of material in there. So we'll go ahead and get around there to that inner wheel well area and start on that and see where we end up. Well, right here's that little area here where we got that gap on both sides, where we're probably going to have to slice it and push it in if we can't get the hammer dolly to push it in a little bit. But before we try doing that, we're going to go ahead and set these clamps up along the pinch weld here and go ahead and start drilling some holes every so often until we get all the way up on over here and get this all secured. So we'll get started on them holes and get that welded in real quick. All right, well, we pretty well got this driver's side kind of pretty well done. We got it all kind of welded up here and ground down. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump over to the passenger side and repeat the same exact thing we did here. All right, we're over here to the passenger side. I went ahead and cleaned this all up to where we can get ready to clamp it together and go ahead and drill them holes for them spots where we can spot weld her together there. This is the side that we really had a big old chunk here that was a little too rusty, and we came in a little short when we made these lower panels here. So we're going to have to go and add a little piece in here and bring that down once we get to that point. But we're going to go ahead and drill it and get it all spot welded together everywhere else and save that lower portion here for the last. So we'll get started on that. Alright, well we got the passenger side all welded and ground down. So now we're going to go ahead and jump over to the front firewall area and get it all tied together. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and get started on getting the front of this firewall all tied back together here. So I think that's where we're going to start at. We're going to go ahead and cut us a piece of material that we can go ahead and get started with carving it in here to where we can start to get our filler panel that goes between here and here. And that'll eventually tie into these earlier pieces that we built, that we broke over, that are going to be spot welded to the top side and the lower part of the roadmaster floor. So we'll go cut us some material and see if we can get going on that. Alright, now that we got all our puzzle pieces built here and everything, make sure they're going to fit in here. What we're going to do next, we'll go ahead and blow all these pieces back apart, clean them all up, and then where we're going to be overlapping in some areas, we'll put some of that weld through primer, in here where we're going to drill and spot weld that stuff. And then we'll go ahead and start getting her ready to weld together. Now, one more thing we'll have to do once we get this stuff here welded in, we're going to have to trim this off about an inch or so and actually slide it back over this way to get it to fit in, kind of like what we cut it out for. But we just kind of temporarily clamped it there to get a kind of an idea of what this contour needed to be. So we'll go ahead and get her cleaned up and our primer applied and get her welded in there. All right, well I ended up cutting me a little relief right in here for this factory front body bracket here to mount. It slips right down in there in that recessment there. We'll go ahead and clamp it into place here. And after I did that, I went ahead and made some cardboard templates and cut me some 1/8 inch pieces of material here that we're going to make a mount here that's actually going to weld directly to the frame. And then we'll have this piece here that'll go up underneath where the bolt goes down through there. And what I usually like to do for like any kind of body material, like spacing material or rubber mounting, I usually buy this baler belting. You can get it usually at any farm and ranch supply store. And it works really good. It's not really that expensive. You can buy it by the foot, and you can cut and make any kind of like, any like spacing belt or body material that you want out of this stuff. And it holds up really, really well. So what we'll go ahead and do is take and sandwich this piece in here, bolt that together, and then we can spot weld all these little pieces in. Then we can remove this temporarily so we can get in here real good and weld that all together. And then once that's done, then we can bolt it together good here and then weld this bracket on here, and we'll be done with this side. So we'll get started on that. Alright, well this is what we ended up with on the passenger side. So we'll go ahead and jump over to the driver's side and get started on it and try to make it look about the same. Alright, well we got all the pieces for the driver's side mirrored and cleaned up, so we're going to go ahead and get them put into place here and get her welded up. Well, here's kind of a quick look at what she looks like after we got the driver's side all finished up here. Well, I'd like to go ahead and take a quick second here and apologize to everybody for not having a video out in the last several weeks. On my farm, and then I do some work in town, so I ended up getting tied down with all that I didn't have a chance to make another video and do very much on the old goose. But hopefully we're going to get back on track to where I can try to get one video out a week at least. And another thing, those drag races in Harrington, those heads-up races that they had scheduled for May 15th ended up getting rained out. And they're supposedly going to be having a rain date of the 19th of June. So if nothing else, hopefully at least I can get the old 55 down there and do a little heads-up drag racing. So we'll keep you posted on that. But so far we got the front tied down on the old goose here, and then the wheel well areas. So on the next video, hopefully we can get the rockers, the uppers and lowers attached to the Roadmaster chassis, and go ahead and start getting that trunk area all done with that rear roll pan, and then we'll start putting her all back together. So, and then to everybody that's been following along, I sure appreciate you. And anybody that's new, please hit the like and subscribe button, because I should have more to come on this. So until next time, take care.